Community Corner here with Kevy Kev. We're back at you for another season, okay? That was good. I just had the warm-up. That was good.
Yeah,
Because I didn't hit the right button, see? And that happens sometimes. But we're back for a new season, and Ed, who's always on the job, Ed Grad over there, see, he caught that mistake, our producer here, and so now we're correct. And our associate producer, Lisa's in the house. They're back, and, man, we're ready for a new one here. And getting started again, we are celebrating, it's the celebration, a 56-year celebration to be exact. Our guest today I would say, puts the E in education. He is an educator. He's been educating students in the St. Louis area for more than 50 years, 56 years and plus and counting, and he is retiring this week, and we are so honored to have joining us in the studio, Charles Babatu Murphy. How you doing?
I'm doing good, and I want to say it's an honor to be here, and this is just like a preview of what I'm going to be doing because I'm retiring.
Yes.
And nobody wants to believe it because I've been doing it so long. But I realized that I owe it to everybody I know and people I don't even know yet to tell my story.
Yes, you do.
And tell how I see the world, this planet, and all this good stuff, and what it means to me and the world.
Well, I tell you what, when you have had the success that you've had, where you have been teaching and educating since 1967, first of all, the first simple question is, how do you teach for 56 years? What's been the key that has allowed you to do this, what you've done for 56 years, more than half a century?
I'm going to tell you I forget the name of the movie, but
okay. It's
a movie about two magicians.
Okay.
And, they was always competing. And the one that was kind of ruthless got mad and basically was in a position where he was like, kind of defeated. And he was mad at the other magician, and said, why do you just keep doing magic? And so the other magician said, well, why do you do it? I said, well, I like to make a little money and stuff. And but why do you do it? And I'm going to say the good magician, all he said was, it's the look on their faces. And all I can tell you is, that's it. Teaching is the technique of showing people something and teaching them something, showing them something they can do that they probably thought they couldn't do. And they say, wow, I can do this. And I'm telling you, when you see that wow and you see that success rejuvenates you as a teacher.
Wow, that's it. Well, you've done this for, like I said, 56 years. 1967, you began your teaching career right here in the St. Louis area at Vianney High School. That was where you got your start. Tell us about how you got started, and we'll go from there. But I have so much to ask you. But just tell us how that was when you began in 1967.
Wow. It even goes back before that, because, I'm a black man, grew up on south side of St. Louis in a little neighborhood called Carondelet, and I went to a high school, predominantly white high school, called St. Mary's High School, and it's still around.
Yep.
And I graduated from there in 1962. And while I was there, there was a handful of black students, about 4 of us. And but there was a black teacher, and the teachers were members of what's called the Society of Mary. And people have heard of Jesuits and all that, but this was the Society of Mary, and it was all male. And they had one black teacher. He was from the Caribbean. His name was Brother Xavier Hargett. And he was an art teacher. And, we would see each other. We knew each other. We spoke a lot. And one day he just came to me and he said, "Hey, you seem like somebody that cares about other people. You ever think about joining us?" So he put the challenge out there. And I'm like to help people. What's he talking about? But anyway, to make a long story short, I had a friend, a white friend that grew up with me who was from Souther St. Louis than I was. And so that was mainly a white neighborhood. And I, had a couple of blocks of black neighborhood, but we were good friends. And he was, decided he wanted to join that group, that order, religious order. So between the two of them, I said, okay, I'm going to go for it. Well, I made it all the way through, and my friend, he didn't. But in the process, I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about the world. Our first year of training, we on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and we learned all these skills like farming and.
Now, was this in Texas? Or
this was actually in Galesville, Wisconsin.
You were in Wisconsin, okay.
Yes, up way up north, and it was so north. One of them winter days, it got down to minus 38 degrees, and in the morning we would jump up, and, go to the chapel and start everything off. And I remember running across there, minus 38. All I can say, it didn't feel as cold as stuff feels around here. But anyway, I made it through that. And the next step is you go down to, watch this, from Galesville, Wisconsin, you go on down to San Antonio, Texas for college, because we were basically all slated to be teaching brothers, as they call them. But they had, now watch this, they had working brothers, teaching brothers, and priests.
Okay.
So, and it was a hierarchy, okay? So the priest was on top, the teaching brother was in the middle, and the working brother was at the bottom. So it's kind of interesting, how much, so many things that shake out that way, with a class type of structure. But anyway, down in San Antonio, I took up chemistry and math. It was four parts to our degree. It was chemistry, math, teaching, education, and religion. So we had all four of those. So that's how I got started. Also, the other thing that I started doing while I was in that religious order, we had, work time, study time, church time, and we also had playtime. Okay. And so in playtime, up in Wisconsin, they had a little Hammond spinet organ, so I used to mess with that. And then then we would have these little singing challenges, and I would beat on this little look like an oatmeal box and sing Bad Man Brown, Stagger Lee, stuff like that. And so, I didn't know I was a quote-unquote performer. So when we got down to San Antonio, there was a guy that played trumpet, and he came to me one day and said, "Hey, next weekend we got a show, and want to know if you can learn about 4 jazz songs on an upright bass."
And you never played the bass before.
And I said, "Nah." And I was like, "I guess so." And he had a bass over in the study room, for the band, and There's a piano in the room and there was a big old bass. And he gave me a book that was in French, English, and German. And he said, here you go. And then he gave me 4 charts, said, learn them 4 songs. So I did it in a week. And from there on, you know, I met this brother down there named Lloyd Jones. He performed in his church and stuff, and but he played piano and organ. So we started jamming, and next thing you know, we had a thing called the Soul Brothers on the campus. And so I'm just saying all that to say, getting out of town, getting out on my own, trying to fit in with this and that, it brought out a lot in me that I never knew I had.
Sure.
And so from there, I found out we started writing songs because the Catholic Church had this big movement, the ecumenical movement, and they decided that it was okay for indigenous people, because remember they was going around the planet, what's the word? It's going around the planet sanctifying, bringing, you know, religion to, you know, all these folks out here that didn't have nothing according to them. So anyway,
but
Catholic,
you know what? I'm
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. I'm just gonna take it because we got a break here.
Oh, okay.
I want you to come back, talk about that. We'll talk about how you went from San Antonio to get to St. Louis and began your teaching career here, of course, with the St. Louis Public Schools, where you started in 1970 and stayed until today, where we are. So we're going to talk about all that and that the next 50 years of education, how your keys in the classroom, okay? We're going to get to that, and your music, and you're going to perform for us. So all that's coming up. We're going to take a time out, but we're going to come back with more. This is the Community Corner, where today we're celebrating the retirement of a great educator in the St. Louis area, Charles Babatu Murphy. He's retiring after 56 years of education, more than 50 years in the St. Louis Public Schools. We're going to come back and get he's going to just tell us all about it. Coming up next. All right, welcome back to the Community Corner with Kevy Kev. And again, we are so happy. New season. What a way to kick it off. Celebrating the retirement of Charles Babatu Murphy, 56 years. And you would just tell us about your music and how that is going to take you from San Antonio to St. Louis.
Well, I just thought of something on that little break.
Okay.
I'm going to use a song to see if that kind of shows the real me.
Oh, you want to take us through a song?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I got a song I want to share. In fact, I shared it before. It's called Family Forged in Trauma.
Family Forged in Trauma. Okay.
This song was inspired by Nicole Hannah Jones. And I really appreciate what she did, because she reminded us about our history. And that's what kind of really answers that question. What keeps you going? And it's storytelling. And she tells a story back in 1619. A ship carrying enslaved Africans showed up off the coast of Virginia. Now this was 1619. It wasn't 1620. Because you remember 1620, that's when Malcolm said Plymouth Rock was dropped on us. So here's this ship. And the ship was kind of traveling around the world. It needed to get some provisions. So when it came time to pay for those provisions, they said, well, guess what? We got a shipload of captured Africans. Now these Africans, even though they were all from Africa, they weren't all from the same neighborhood. They weren't all the same people. So they had different cultures, different languages. But in this slave ship, a miracle happened. These brothers and sisters were able to overcome and actually forge a whole new family. And that's why I call this song Family Forged in Trauma. Family forged in trauma. Family forged in pain. Family forged in the hold of a ship. Family forged in chains. Fear turned into despair. Despair turned into resignation. Resignation turned into resolve. When we refuse to die. Family forged in trauma. Family forged in pain. Family forged in the hold of a ship. Family forged in chains. I know it's gotta be a better place. We build for those who follow us. Some call it heaven, but when the devil has his way, we keep living in hell. Family forged in trauma. Family forged in pain. Family forged in the hold of a ship. Family forged in chains. In 1619, that slave ship was called the White Lion. Today, we still on a slave ship. This slave ship is white supremacist, male-dominated American capitalism. So the question is, what we gonna do? What we gonna do? We gonna starve ourselves to death? Gonna throw ourselves overboard? Gonna help our captors by killing each other? Or will we follow in the footsteps of our ancestors and forge a new family? A new family based on democracy, and a democracy based on empathy. And how about fair and equitable, peaceful conflict resolution, regardless of rank? Can we do that? Can we forge that new family? Can we refuse to die? Family forged in trauma. Family forged in pain. Family forged in the hold of a ship. Family forged in chains. Fear turns into despair. Despair turns into resignation. Resignation turns into resolve. When we refuse to die, family forged in trauma, family forged in pain, family forged in the hold of a ship, family forged in chains.
Yes, sir. That was that was awesome. That that's from the heart, and man, boy, it's kind of hard to react and respond after that. Family forged in trauma.
Yes, sir.
And then, of course, you began it talking about the 1619 Project, and
yes,
you look at you and you say, my goodness, over half a century in the classroom of teaching, and there are a lot of layers to Charles Babatu Murphy, because when you just perform a song like that in today's classroom, we're constantly hearing you don't import that into your classroom. That's what we're in sections of the country. This is seen as that's not your job, and of course your background, you're a chemistry teacher, a math teacher, a technology teacher. You teach media, journalism, broadcasting, multimedia, but yet and still you incorporate things like you talking about democracy and freedom and rights for all. How have you been able to do that over the years?
Well, I forget when, but I learned that education is needed to support democracy.
Mm-hmm.
So for people to be able to come together and rule themselves or govern themselves, they have to know some basic things, some basic skills. That's why reading, writing, arithmetic, and now we say, mistakenly to me, they say STEM, science, technology, education, math. And then they added the A later on.
Engineering.
But they want to keep it simple so they can remember. But to me, that's a problem solving, a human problem solving continuum.
Okay.
Because when you solve a problem, the first thing you do is ask a question. Well, guess what? That is science. Science is asking questions. Science like, well, what is this? How does this work? We ask these questions. How are we going to fix this? So that's a human thing. People get caught up that science, math, technology, all that stuff is something for school. No, that's everyday life. Well, maybe school is everyday life. So science, asking questions. But the next thing is math. Math, you make connections. Math, you look at relationships. That's what math really is. So you ask the question, then you start checking out how things are connected. Well, after you kind of got an idea from that, the next thing you're going to do is design a solution. Well, guess what? That's technology.
Okay.
Design a solution. You put the things together that's going to make it work. That's why I always say Dr. Roach. Dr. Alice Roach was a technologist when it came to people. She knew how to put people together so they could work together and solve something. Yes. But that idea of putting the things together, proposing a solution, that's technology. And then once you've got the design, your solution design, guess what? It didn't exist, now it's got to exist. That's creation. That's engineering. Engineering is when you create a solution. It came from nothing, and now it's existing. Now everybody want to say, well, come on now, that God do that. I didn't say she didn't. You know what I'm saying? So Think about it. Is this some kind of connection?
Yeah,
is this some kind of connection between us?
That's the first time I've ever heard science, technology, engineering, math
and engineering.
And then I know the
guess
arts.
What? Art is where people share their solution with other people. Okay. Art, whether it's music, drawing, singing, whatever, art is the sharing. And that's what brings it all back around when you say, well, how you get off in connecting science and technology and chemistry? See, all of those are tools, all right, to help humans understand how we gonna live together, how we gonna become a real global democracy. To me, the key to digital, when I first started learning digital, the first thing that hit me was, wow, guess what? Now we can have global democracy because we can communicate. Yeah. We can connect all over the planet. We can listen to each other wherever the heck we might be. So none of these things ever seemed out of place to me in a classroom because they all work together to help humans learn to live and govern themselves and make sure everybody labor, work, starts off worth a lot.
Yeah.
This stuff about one person's an hour of one person's work is worth less than an hour of another person's work. I don't know where that came. That's some stuff.
That's some stuff. Right.
Because to me, if you're human, your labor is worth the top.
Yeah.
So, I think we've been fooled into accepting, situations that make some people very, very rich and other people very, very poor. Our lead singer in Infrared Rockers back in the day, Johari, rest her soul, she wrote a song, "The world is rich, why are we so poor?"
I see. All right, we are visiting with Charles Babatu Murphy, and he just broke down STEAM for us, gave us some music to go along with it, and again, we're celebrating him. He's retiring this week, ladies and gentlemen, after 56 years of teaching in the classroom, more than 50 years in the St. Louis Public Schools. Let me ask you this, too. Let's say there are some future teachers, young teachers, maybe someone thinking about teaching, someone who maybe started a teaching career. What advice would you give them? What would you say so that maybe we're talking about them? I don't know if I'll be around then, but 50 years down the road, they're on some show. They might be on Elise's show or Ed's show here, and they're talking about their career. So what advice? Nuggets would you give them to help make them a half a century in the classroom?
Bottom line is you just got to connect with the youngsters. You know what I'm saying? It's all about connecting.
And give me an example. How do you connect? 50 years, I'm sure you've made a lot of connections.
I listen.
Okay.
I listen to people, and I put myself in their situation, and then I figure out how together we can solve whatever the problem or the situation is. I want them to know that I'm really paying attention to them, you know, and I want to figure out how we can solve whatever problem they have. And that's the point. You got to see the students, the other people around you, all y'all the same, and we all got problems, and we're trying to solve them, and we can solve them together. So I might know a little something about, you know, asking a question. I might know a little connection of this to that. So the best thing when a student when somebody else realizes that you are there because they gonna teach you something. You are raising their status, their expectations. They say, wow, I got something good, you know? And this person sees it in me, you know? Even though they might see all whatever in me, you know, I still see something in them. And I'm gonna share, you know, my delight, you know, with what I figure out about how stuff works. But it's still going through that process of, wow, you know, want to hear them say, wow, that look on their faces.
Yeah. I know we got a minute before the next break, but
okay.
In about 40 seconds from now, how do you say they can teach you? What do you do to put them in position to teach you? What do you do?
I just say, what do you think this is? You know, I show them something.
Okay.
And I want them to tell me what they think it is.
Okay.
And so what they're going to do is they're going to come up with ideas and words that they already got.
Okay.
And that's what I start with, is what they already got.
Got you. All right. Okay, well, I know we coming up on another time out here. We'll come back with our final segment with Charles Babatu Murphy. He's retiring this week, ladies and gentlemen. 56 years in the classroom, 50-plus years in the St. Louis Public Schools. He is a math teacher, science, broadcasting, technology. You talk about tech, and we'll get into that in the next segment, but he does all that. So we're going to take a break, come back. This is the Community Corner with Kevy Kev, and we appreciate you being here with us. Welcome back to the Community Corner, and it has been a day of celebration. We are here with Charles Babatu Murphy, educator for 56 years and 50 years in the St. Louis Public Schools, and he is retiring this week, and we are so honored to get him on to just talk about his outstanding career. You know, that's 50 years in the St. Louis Public Schools. You've been at Beaumont, you've been at McKinley, you've been at Roosevelt for the last 20 plus years, I know.
24.
24 years.
We in 23 because I came in 99.
My goodness, you've just been. I gotta say this to you. You were talking about making the connections, and we were asking the question about what would you say? What do you say to the teacher thinking about becoming a teacher, or that new teacher to the classroom a couple of years? And you told them it's about making those connections. What do you do when you have a student that might not want to make that connection? That it might be challenging. We're seeing some challenging times right now. What's been your strategy? How do you break through that? What is a Babatu method to break through when maybe somebody does not want to make the connection with his or her teacher?
You have to get to know them enough to understand what they're connected to. Mm-hmm. You have to be fair and hold them accountable. And you have to show them that you will allow them to hold you accountable.
See.
That's it. Cause man, a couple years ago I had a student, man, he was cussing people out, ready to jump on folks and all kind of stuff. Get an attitude because you just challenge him and say, why you do this? And don't mess with me. And he wound up getting put out of school. But then when I see him, I say, hey, what you up to these days? Just have a little conversation type talk. And, you can see if he's still where he was, or if he or she is, in a different place now. But it's you pay attention to what they're going through, and there's going to be something sooner or later that you're going to share an experience that you can talk about what you went through, and it's going to be just like what they went through.
Sure.
And then it might even be something where, they got mistreated. Mm-hmm. And you actually stand with them, in that whole situation to show everybody that you're holding yourself and everybody else accountable.
As we wrap up this segment, and you use the word accountable, and being a teacher myself like you, of course, I don't. You are just like you said. That's why you're here.
You awesome. Hey y'all, awesome.
But we often say in education, it's threefold, right? It's teachers or the school system, it's parents, and then it's the students. Okay, it's all working together, right? Let me ask you this: going back from '67 to 2003, now as you prepare to, I'm not going to say leave because you're always going to teach because that's what you do. But what do you see? What do you see as the biggest challenge facing the modern present day school as you take on another role? I'll say that. What's the most difficult challenge that the school, as you see it, have to figure out a way to work through? What would that be?
Well, you got to get rid of corruption. And corruption goes back to resources and ownership, who owns stuff. Like I had quoted before, the world is rich. Why are we so poor? So who authorized some rich white man to come along and say, I own this, and therefore I decide who gets paid what? And again, it's about each person's value, the value of being human, and us taking the time, to listen to each other. I hope I'm saying it right, but it's like I say, everybody means something. Everybody is worth a whole lot just by virtue of being human.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's where worth should really start. You know, not how much money you got, none of the other stuff, you know, how many things you got, how much talent you got, you know. Just think about, somebody was talking about going into healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into healthcare, you better be ready for all the suffering you're going to see. I don't even know the percentage of how many people are really suffering and hurt, disabled or whatever, you know, because so much of it is hidden from us.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, you know, what the heck is a normal human? You know, so to me, we are all worth so much, and we have to show that, you know, to each other. So that's the bottom line lesson, you know, is what each other is worth.
Well, let me ask you this: someone listen, why should someone want to teach? And certainly, why should someone want to teach 50 years? Why would someone want to do that? What's kept you? Why would you want to do that? Well, you know, somebody might be thinking about it. Why would you want to be a teacher?
Because it's always something that you can move. I want to say up. You know, you can show people what they're really worth, and because ultimately, that's what, like I say, the teacher is the one who makes you say, "Wow," you know. It's that look. When you see that look, I'm telling you, it just. You know, and it's almost selfish because, you know, you want to see them be happy.
Yeah.
And be, you know, successful and solve whatever problem they got.
Let me ask you this, because anyone that knows you, your history, along with a half a century plus of teaching, you're an activist. You make no. I mean, your songs prove that, right? You are one that like to. You are an advocate and one who speaks on when you see wrong. And those of us that were on social media with at least question, they got to really hear your thoughts on that. So you're an activist. Let me ask you this question first. I know we got about 3 minutes to get this done, but I want to know what you told your classroom on the day after Barack Obama won the election in 2008. What were your words to your classroom? Take me back to that. What'd you say?
Wow. I think I was crying too much to tell him anything. The power of that day. One of the students had written a song, and he was basically celebrating the fact that we can make anything happen that we want to happen. And the people united will never be defeated. And that's, you know, I learned that by way of a lot of folks from Amiri Baraka.
Yeah.
You know, as we participated in different, you know, connected with activists around the country. You know, we had Working Always Through Unity, WATU. We started a grassroots organization here in St. Louis. Ultimately, then we went to Congress of African People, CAP. Well, Amir Baraka was chairperson of that. I'm going to say now we have, OBS, the Organization for Black Struggle.
Right.
We've had bands, we've had family band, Uhuru Ensemble, infrared funk, infrared rockers.
Right.
We've always been able to be part of a group of people, black people, who changed the world with their message. And so that's it.
Yeah.
The people united will never be defeated.
And I know we got 20 seconds. Tell us real quick. You told the Facebook family, you were telling us about when you go to you like to take people to the Missouri Capitol, and give me that statement again. I want it for the radio.
Salus populi suprema lex esto. The welfare of the people must be the supreme law of the land.
All right, that's it. Oh man, it has been an honor to have you on, man. This is not it though. I know you tell everybody you got a lot. You're gonna be writing music and everything in retirement and consulting. You got a lot of things in plans here. I know a lot of things.
Absolutely.
All right, it has truly been an honor. I just thank
I'm honored that you are the host, the DJ. The legend.
Oh no,
Kev.
Oh man, not me. But thank you. You've been awesome. And listen, we gonna do this again. So this is just it's just a little so long for a while, and I know there's big celebrations and things coming up. Charles Babatu Murphy, y'all. Can't say any more than that. 56 years, man. A legend, a St. Louis, a state. Hey, he's a U.S. legend, man. How many other teachers know y'all? 56 years. Oh, don't get me started on that. He's been honored. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And thank everybody for listening, for watching. Big shout out to Elise, of course, our social producer, and of course Ed over here, Ed Gratter, making it all happen, a producer with all the controls and doing all the stuff that he does, get the streams and things happening. All right, so I'm Kevin Kev for the Community Corner and Babatu. We'll talk to you next time.